what's the called guidelines came out and the prices of the nomination forms and all of that, the platform also almost became a platform where we're just posting broadcasts and all of that. A lot of people had already seeped out because based on what Aniekan was saying, the financial capability, to do the needful was not there. But I had one young guy who was also contesting for House of Reps, and he said, at the point when we had 24 hours to the closure of payment for nomination forms, I had less than 50% of the cost of buying that form. He is an Empower beneficiary, but he was able to mobilize more than 50 co-Empower beneficiaries who believed in his vision, who believed in the possibility of what his precedents and antecedent had provided for them in that small circle of theirs as Empower beneficiaries, contributing more than 80% of their monthly Empower benefit, 25,000, to support this young man to buy his form.
Wow.
And he came with a list of all of these guys and their phone numbers. This, of course, is an out-of-the-world thing. This is the current reality in this country. Young people are committed. In my own constituency, I have lots of young people who have dropped their vehicles. People see me like somebody who controls a lot of resources, but I don't have the resources. I've got more than 10 vehicles that have been branded at the moment. I didn't buy a single one. Up until yesterday in the evening when I was about to leave, I was at the airport. Somebody still called me. Leader, I've been talking to you. You don't seem to. What's the issue? He said his vehicle has not been branded. And he wants me to brand his vehicle for free. What exactly is moving these people? Fresh ideas. They see this time as our time and they believe that we can turn things around. So that kind of apathy was there. But with advocacy, with the visions that we represent, people's hope is being rekindled. And young people are willing to go the whole org. So and I can assure you in 2019, we will do very fantastic things.
In other words, you believe that in 2019, young people are going to come out to vote?
I do believe. Because I'm seeing it clearly. I've been going around the wards, and I tell you, in virtually all the wards that I've visited, I've got pictorials in my phone. One of the greatest things that actually gives me that vigor, 70% of those in my wards are young people.
Okay. Chidi, you want to say something?
Well, I've seen enough elections to know that what you're saying now about young people coming out to vote on election day is neither here or there. I don't want to sound pessimistic.
No, but Chidi,
but with a lot of advocacy.
You must admit that more young people are going out to collect their DVCs.
Absolutely.
More than ever.
Absolutely.
People are going to collect their DVCs.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of drive for people to go out there and vote like never before. I don't know what was informing that.
But Aniekan, I know someone, for instance, who's running for an office in the Federal Capital Territory. Before, I didn't even know she was going to run for office. But see what she was doing. She would just sit down her own, adopt a school, go there, teach, and basically training young girls and all of that. And then suddenly I hear she's running for office. But that kind of a person, with the war chest and some of the things you laid out as inhibitions to the young people, do you think those that she's going to be competing against would give her a chance? For instance, one of those who's contesting for one of the offices in the Federal Capital Territory just came out, used to work in the civil service as a director, and is giving out cars. She doesn't have cars, but she's been training children who do not have the voting power. They might not be able to come out and say, okay, we're going to vote for her because she's been training us. What efforts can the young, or what can the young do, the young Nigerians? This is a general question to the three of you now, but beginning with you, Aniekan, as we wind down. What do the young people need to do to stay focused and help to redeem this nation?
Okay, so I'll answer your question, but very quickly I'm going to touch on two other things. One is this. I'm not convinced that it's voter apathy in that sense. I think a lot of us are too scared to dream. I think we're too scared to believe in the Nigeria that we want because we don't want our hopes dashed, which is why Abdullahi speaks about hope. So I think it's fear. And I think that if we're persuaded and if our hopes are rekindled again, I think that you will see a massive turnout of young people in this country. And we're already seeing the tide turn. So that's number one. Now, when it comes to the lady you were referring to who is running and in comparison, the other person, one thing stands out very clearly to me. And that is that the lady who is teaching the young kids, those kids may never vote, but you see, her focus is not to win an election. Her focus is to change Nigeria. And people need to get that. Whereas the person who is giving out cards, I will not speak about them because I do not know who they are or what they present. But when you put those two in comparison, one is looking at the future of this country and one is saying, I want to serve and I want to create value. So that's one thing. The other thing is that over time, what do we need to do? We need to understand that youth and political participation is a process and a continuum. 2019 should not be a yardstick for us evaluating whether the youth are ready to run or whether our push to run and to serve. Now, when people say not too young to run, I always add not too young to serve, because that's what we're doing, is service. We should not use 2019 as a barometer. Even if we don't get the best young candidates, or even if they don't do well, this is a process.
Thank you very much.
And Rome was not built. So what do we need to do to answer your question very clearly? We need to keep on. That's number one. Number two is what we need to be able to, like Abdullahi says, contribute what we can.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, we have to leave it here. We really have to, and I do hope we can come back and have this conversation again. Abdullahi, Abdullahi Abdul Majid is an aspirant
exactly
for the
what we
House
should be doing.
of Representatives. Chidi Lemchi is a political strategist, and Anyeka Nyaitok is a policy analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts. We wish you all well. Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please do not go away.